Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Journey with Vijay Kumar Shrivastav. Today we are going to study the topic important diseases of field crops. In this chapter we are going to cover the important diseases of rice, wheat, maize, sorghum, pearl millet, potato, sugarcane, groundnut, Bengal gram and rapeseed and mustard. Now we will go through important disease of rice crop. First one is brown spot disease in rice. This disease is caused by the fungus Helminthosporium oryzae, which is having the sexual stage of Cochleobolus meabianus. This disease causal agent is an important plant pathogen which cause a common and widespread rice disease that causes high level of crop yield losses. Because of this disease, there was Bengal famine of 1943, where the crop yield was dropped by 40% to 90% and death of 2 million was recorded. Other non-severe crop losses cases caused by Cochleobolus meabianus are globally distributed. It is common in Philippines, India, Sumatra, etc. In the Philippines, rice seedling mortality rate recorded up to 60%. In India and Nigeria, it can reduce total crop yield by up to 40%. Similar losses are also observed in Suriname and Sumatra. Now the symptoms of brown spot disease of rice. The fungus attacks the crop from seedling to milky stage in main field. Symptoms appear as minute spots on the coleoptile, leaf blade, leaf sheath and the glume, but it is most prominent on the leaf blade and glumes. The spots become cylindrical or oval, dark brown with yellow halo, later becoming circular. Several spots are merging with each other and the leaf dries up. The seedlings die and affected nurseries can be often recognized from a distance by a scorched appearance. Dark brown or black spots also appear on glumes, leading to grain discoloration. It causes failure of seed germination, seedling mortality, and reduces the grain quality and weight. Now blast disease of rice crop, which is a fungal disease caused by Pyracularia oryzae. The fungus attacks the crop at all stages of crop growth and symptoms appear on leaves, nodes, rachis and glumes. On this basis, the blast disease is categorized in three types. First one is leaf blast, second is nodal blast and third is neck blast. In case of leaf blast, on the leaves, the lesions appear as a small bluish-green flakes, which enlarge under moist weather to form the characteristic spindle-shaped spots with grey center and dark brown margins. In case of nodal blast, the spots college as the disease progresses and large areas of the leaves dry off and wither. Spots are also appear on sheath. Severely infected nursery and field appear as burned. Black lesions appear on nodes, girdling them. The affected nodes may break up and all the plant parts above the infected nodes may die. In case of neck blast, during flower emergence, the fungus attacks the peduncle and the lesions turn to brownish black, which is referred to as rotten neck or neck rot or panicle blast. Sheath rot disease of rice, which is caused by fungus Serrocladium oryzae. And now the symptoms. Initial symptoms are noticed only on the uppermost leaf sheath, including young panicles. The flag leaf sheath show oblong or irregular grayish brown spots. They enlarge and develop grey center and brown margins covering major portions of the leaf sheath. The young panicles remain within the sheath or emerge partially. The panicle rot and abundant whitish powdery fungal growth is seen inside the leaf sheath. Next disease is sheath blight of rice, which is caused by fungus Rhizoctonia solani. Now symptoms. The fungus affects the crop from tillering to heading stage. Initial symptoms are noticed on leaf sheaths near water level. On the leaf sheath, oval or elliptical or irregular greenish grey spots are formed. As the spots enlarge, the center becomes grayish white with an irregular blackish brown or purple brown border. Legends on the upper parts of plants extend rapidly, coalescing with each other to cover entire tillers from the water line to the flag leaf. The presence of several large legends on a leaf sheath usually causes death of the whole leaf, and in severe cases, all the leaves of a plant may be blighted. The infection extends to the inner sheath, resulting in death of entire plant. Older plants are highly susceptible. Plants heavily infected in the early heading and grain filling growth stages produce poorly filled grain, especially in the lower part of the panicle. Next disease is false smut of rice, which is caused by fungus Astrolaginoidea virens. Now the symptoms. The fungus transforms individual ovaries and grains into greenish spore balls of velvety appearance. Only a few spikelets in a panicle are affected, and it is impacting the quality of grain formed. Next disease is bacterial leaf blight of rice, which is caused by bacteria Xanthomonas oryzae. In symptoms, the disease is usually noticed at the time of heading, but it can occur earlier also. Seedlings in the nursery show circular yellow spots in the margin that enlarge, college heading to drying of foliage, and crescent symptom is seen in seedlings 1 to 2 weeks after transplanting. The bacteria enter through the cut wounds in the leaf tips, becoming systemic and cause death of entire seedling. In the grown-up plants, water-soaked translucent lesions appear near the leaf margin. The lesions enlarge both in length and width with a wavy margin and turns extra yellow within a few days, covering the entire leaf. As the disease advances, the lesions cover the entire lamina, which turns white or extra-colored. Milky or opaque dewdrops containing bacterial masses are formed on young lesions in the early morning. They dry up on the surface, leaving a white incrustation. The affected grains have discolored spots. If the cut's end of leaf is dipped in water, it becomes turbid because of bacterial ooze. Now we will study the disease of wheat crop. First disease is black or stem rust of wheat, which is caused by Fuchsinia graminis triticii. In symptoms, the symptoms are produced on almost all aerial parts of the wheat plant, but these are most common on stem, leaf sheaths, and upper and lower leaf surfaces. Radial pustules are oval to spindle shaped and dark reddish brown, which is rust in color. They erupt through the epidermis of the host and are surrounded by tetrad host tissues. The pustules are dusty in appearance due to the vast number of spores produced, and these spores are readily released when touched. Brown or leaf rust of wheat crop, which is caused by fungus Fuchsinia triticina. The symptoms are most common on leaf blades. However, seeds, glumes, and awns may occasionally become infected and exhibit symptoms. Urea are seen as small, circular orange blisters or pustules on the upper surface of leaves. Orange spores are easily dislodged and may cover clothing, hands, or implements. When the infection is severe, leaves dry out and die. Since inoculum is blown into a given area, symptoms are often seen on upper leaves first. As plants mature, the orange iridospores are replaced by black teleospores. Heavy infection, which extends to the flag leaf, results in a shorter period of grain fill and small kernels. Now loose smut of wheat crop, which is caused by fungus Astylagonuda triticii. Now the symptoms. It is very difficult to detect infected plants in the field until heading. At this time, infected heads emerge earlier than normal heads. The entire inflorescence is commonly affected and appears as a mass of olive black spores initially covered by a thin grey membrane. Once the membrane ruptures, the head appears powdery. Smutted heads are shorter than healthy heads due to a reduction in the length of rachis and peduncle. Prior to heading, affected plants have dark green erect leaves. Chlorotic streaks may also be visible on the leaves. This disease is causing the poor quality of grains produced. Now kernel bunt of wheat, which is caused by fungus Neovacia indica. Symptoms of kernel bunt are often difficult to distinguish in the field due to the fact that incidence of infected kernel on a given head is low. There may be some spreading of the glumes due to sorus production, but it is not extensive as that observed with common bunt. Symptoms are most readily detected on seeds after harvest. The black sorus containing dusty spores is evident on part of the seed, commonly occurring along with groups. Heavily infected seed is fragile and the pericarp ruptures easily. The foul, fishy odor associated with common bunt is also found with kernel bunt. The odor is caused by the production of trimethylamine by the fungus. Seed that is not extensively infected may germinate and produce healthy plants. The kernel bunt of wheat was reported in 1931 by Mitra, and the symptoms appear in ear, and not all ears in a stool are affected, and not all grains are also affected in a ear. So this is also known as partial bunt. Now we will study the important diseases of maize crop. First one is leaf blight of maize, which is also known as Terticum leaf blight, and this is caused by the fungus Helminthosporium maedis. The symptoms: the fungus affects the crop at young stage. A small yellowish round to oval spots are seen on the leaves. The spots gradually increase in area into bigger elliptical spots and are straight to grayish brown in the center with dark brown margins. The spots coalesce, giving blighted appearance. The surface is covered with olive green velvety mass of conidia and conidiophores. Now the rust of maize crop, which is caused by fungus Puccinia sorghum. Now symptoms: the symptoms are circular to oval, elongated, cinnamon brown powdery pustules are scattered over both surface of the leaves. As the plant matures, the pustules become brown to black owing to the replacement of red iridospores by black teleospores. Now banded leaf and sheath blight of maize crop, which is caused by fungus Rhizoctonia solani. Symptoms: large discolored areas alternating with irregular dark bands are typical symptoms of the disease. Severe infection leads to blotching of the leaf sheath as well as leaves. The symptoms under favorable conditions extend up to silk, glumes and kernels. Disease generally appears at pre-flowering stage. Symptoms also appear on a stalk and the internodes break at the point of infection. Now brown spot disease of maize, which is caused by fungus Physoderma maedis. The lesions occur mainly on the leaf but may also occur on leaf sheath, stalks, outer ear husks and tassels, producing a small round to oblong a chocolate brown to reddish brown spots which may merge together to form large brown blotches. Spots on the midribs are circular and dark brown. Now to study the important diseases of sorghum crop. First one is downy mildew of sorghum, which is caused by fungus Pernosclerospora sorghum. The symptoms: the fungus causes systemic downy mildew of sorghum and it invades the growing points of young plant either through oospore or conidial infection. As the leaves unfold, they exhibit green or yellow coloration. Abundant downy white growth is produced on the lower surface of the leaves, which consists of sporangiosphores and sporangia. Normally 3 or 4 leaves develop the chlorotic downy growth. Subsequent leaves show progressively more of a complete bleaching of the leaf tissue in streaks or stripes. As the infected bleached leaves mature, they become necrotic and the interveinal tissue disintegrate, releasing the resting spores and leaving the vascular bundles loosely connected to give the typical shredded leaf symptoms. Leaf blight of sorghum crop, which is caused by fungus Exorohelium tursicum. And the symptoms, the pathogen also causes seed rot and seedling blight of sorghum. The disease appears as a small, narrow, elongated spots in the initial stage, and in due course they extend along the length of the leaf. On older plants, the typical symptoms are long elliptical necrotic lesions, straw-colored in the center with dark margins. The straw-colored center becomes darker during sporulation. The lesions can be several centimeters long and white. Many lesions may develop and coalesce on the leaves, destroying large areas of the leaf tissue and giving the crop a burnt appearance. Ergot or sugary disease of sorghum, which is caused by fungus Aspergillia sorghai. Now symptoms, the disease is confined to individual spikelets. The first symptom is the secretion of honeydew from infected florets. Under favorable conditions, long, straight or curved, cream to light brown, hard sclerotia develop. Often the honeydew is colonized by Crerabella sorghum-vulgaris, which gives the head a blackened appearance. Anthracnose and red rot of sorghum, which is caused by fungus Coletotrichum graminecolum. Symptoms, the fungus causes both leaf spot anthracnose and stalk rot, which is also known as red rot. The disease appears as a small red colored spots on both surfaces of the leaf. The center of the spot is white in color, encircled by red, purple or brown margin. Numerous small black dots like acervuli are seen on the white surface of the lesions. Red rot can be characterized externally by the development of circular cankers, particularly in the inflorescence. Infected stem, when split open, show discoloration, which may be continuous over a large area or more generally discontinuous, giving the stem a marbled appearance. Now important disease of pearl millet or bajra. First one is downy mildew of bajra, which is caused by fungus Sclerospora graminicola. As symptoms, infection is mainly systemic and symptoms appear on leaves and inflorescence. The initial symptoms appear in seedlings at 3 to 4 leaf stages. The infected leaves show patches of light green to light yellow color on the upper surface, and the corresponding lower surface bear white downy growth of the fungus consisting of sporangiospores and sporangia. The yellow discoloration often turns to streaks along veins. As a result of infection, young plants dry and die ultimately. Symptoms may appear first on the upper leaves of the main shoot, or the main shoot may be symptom-free and symptoms appear on tillers on the lateral shoots. The inflorescence of infected plants gets completely or partially malformed, with florets converted into leafy structures, giving the typical symptoms of green ear. Rust of pearl millet or bajra, which is caused by fungus Puccinia penniceti. Symptoms first appear mostly on the distal half of the lamina. The leaf soon becomes covered by uridosauri, which appear more on the upper surface. The pustules may be formed on leaf sheath, stem, or on peduncles. Later, telial formation takes place on the leaf blade, leaf sheath, and stem. White brownish uridia are exposed at maturity. The black tilia remain covered by the epidermis for a longer duration. Ergot or sugary disease of pearl millet or bajra, which is caused by fungus Claviceps fusiformis. Now symptoms, The symptom is seen by exudation of small droplets of light pinkish or brownish honeydew from the infected spikelets. Under severe infection, many such spikelets exude plenty of honeydew which trickles along the earhead. This attracts several insects. In the later stages, the infected ovary turns into a small dark brown sclerosium which projects out of the spikelets. Now important disease of potato crop. Late blight of potato, which is caused by the fungus Phytophthora infestans. The famine that occurred in Ireland in 1845-49 when the potato crop failed in successive years. The crop failures were caused by late blight of potato disease, a disease that destroys both the leaves and the edible roots or tubers of the potato plant. The Irish famine was the worst to occur in Europe in the 19th century. The proximate cause of the famine was a natural event, a late blight of potato disease, which infected potato crops throughout Europe during the 1840s, also causing some 1 lakh deaths outside Ireland and influencing much of the unrest in the widespread European revolutions of 1848. Now, disease of sugarcane, red rot of sugarcane, which is caused by fungus Coletotrichum falcatum. In symptoms, the first external symptom appears mostly on third or fourth leaf, which withers away at the tip along with margins. Typical symptoms of red rot are observed in the internodes of a stalk by splitting it longitudinally. These include the reddening of the internal tissues, which are usually elongated at right angles to the long axis of the stalk. The presence of crosswise white patches are the important diagnostic characteristics of the disease. The disease can also emit acidic sour smell. As the disease advances, the stalks become hollow and covered with white mycelial growth. Now the diseases of groundnut crop. Tricha leaf spot of groundnut. The leaf spot is characterized in two types. First one is early leaf spot, which is caused by Cercospora archidicola, and second is late leaf spot, which is caused by Phasiopsis personata. In symptoms, the disease occurs on all above ground parts of the plant and more severely on the leaves. The leaf symptoms produced by the two pathogens can be easily distinguished by appearance, spot color and shapes. Both the fungi produce lesions also on petiole, stem and pegs. The lesions caused by both species college as infection develops and severely spotted leaves shed prematurely. The quality and yield of groundnut are drastically reduced in severe infection cases. Now Esochita blight of gram, which is caused by Esochita rabaei. In symptoms, all above ground parts of the plants are infected with the disease. On a leaf, the lesions are found round or elongated, bearing irregularly depressed brown spot and surrounded by a brownish red margin. Similar spots may appear on the stem and pods also. The spots on the stem and pods have pyxenia arranged in concentric rings as minute block dots. When the lesions girdle the stem, the portion above the point of attack rapidly dies. If the main stem is girdles at the collar region, the whole plant dies. So this is one of the important diseases of gram. Now diseases of rapeseed and mustard crop. First one is Alternaria blight of rapeseed and mustard, which is caused by fungus Alternaria brassicae. In symptoms, the disease attacks on the lower leaves as small circular brown necrotic spots which slowly increase in size. Many concentric spots coalesce to cover large patches showing blightening and defoliation in severe cases. Circular to linear dark brown lesions also develop on stems and pods which are elongated at later stage. The infected pods produce a small discolored and shriveled seeds. There will be drastic reduction in case of severe attack. Now white rust of rapeseed and mustard, which is caused by fungus Albuga candida. Both local and systemic infections are observed in this case. In case of local infection, white creamy yellow raised pustules appear on the leaves, which later coalesce to form patches. In systemic infection and during humid weather, there will be mixed infection of white rust and downy mildew, causing swelling and distortion of the stem and floral parts due to hypertrophy and hyperplasia, which develop a stag head structure. Now powdery mildew of mustard, which is caused by fungus Erysipellae cruciferum. This disease appears as dirty white circular flowery patches on either sides of the leaves. Under favorable environmental conditions, whole leaves, stems, floral parts and pods are affected, and the whole leaf may be covered with powdery mass. Now downy mildew of mustard, which is caused by the fungus Peronospora parasitica. There will be development of grayish white irregular necrotic patches on the lower surface of leaves. Later, under favorable conditions, brownish white fungal growth may be also seen on the spots. The most conspicuous and pronounced symptom is the infection of inflorescence, causing hypertrophy of the peduncle of inflorescence and develop a stag head structure. So this presentation was all about important diseases of field crops. Hope this will be helpful to all of you. Thank you very much. I have given here my YouTube channel details, Journey with Vijay Kumar Shrivastav. Having request, please visit the channel, subscribe it and provide your kind and valuable feedback. Thank you.